Argo Star versus Momento. Let's start this off with a special summoned unicorn searching for our birth. Come forth, Adra. Adra is a mandatory activation on summon, which you could then respond to with the Little Knight, banishing it before its main activation, which is to set up 2 traps in the deck, which is not an ashable effect. Meaning if Argo Star were to ever become good, you'd want to negate the effect of searching the Adra. Now with the field spell plus the Argo Star trap on field, we do have the ability on a separate chain link to negate a card on the field. And that's a big problem against a deck like Momento, where a lot of their effects require an open game state to activate. That would be the Horse, the Dark Blade, and the Goblin, where on their summon, just negate it before it even activates. Now the Dark Blade does have the effect on summon to pop a back row card, which we may be going for the field spell, and I'm not sure if we have a way to protect our field spell from that pop. We're going to max C in the draw phase. Let's see what is good. Dark Blade on summon, discard the Goblin, going for that field spell. We're going to chain summon the Anguish pattern. Anguish pattern states that any continuous trap summoned while it's on the field will allow us to pop any card in the field. And now the continual effect negating of the field spell is now gone. We have Unicorn banishing away the Creation King from the extra deck. We have the Anguish pattern triggering off of our back row trap summoning to get poppin'. And we're going to use the Purge to negate the Fiendsmith tracked mate. Negate. We could still summon the Horse though. We have Birth is going to banish 3 cards in the graveyard. That hurts. Oh, that was nasty. We just lost 2 of our mementos from the grave, and we're under the effect of Max C. Horse will pop itself, sending from the deck to the grave a Gaddock and the Sheep. We're going to summon the Gaddock and then add the Sheep and Grave back to our hand. Now with that, we're going to Sheep it up, come forth and summon. We have to think about how can we one-turn kill. Do we have a way to OTK? Yes. Momento can attack directly for 8,000 damage, and we'll talk about that once it's set up. We're going to special summon the Horned Dragon going into the Moon of the Closed Heaven into a Requiem. We're going to be using our continuous trap to summon itself, send itself to the back row to then use its other effect. We have another form of disruption here. It states that you are going to special summon this. Wait, that adds an Argo Star. Which one is the card that spins a monster on the field back to the hand? I don't think we have it on the field. We're instead going to be searching for a Giant Sling. I think we're just thinning out the deck. Also, we're triggering the Anguish pattern, so that is another form of disruption we're doing there. We're going to return 5 cards in graveyard back to summon the Combined Creation. Now, this has the effect, not in defense, of course, but in attack. It could have attacked every single monster on the field. What the? Battle phase end. Should we have tried to attack everything? We have our continuous trap putting itself into the back row here. So one of the traps have the way, that's the one. The Slayer EDO can spin a card on the field back to the hand. We're going to be using the effect of, just spin it back. There we go, Giant Slaying. Okay, sure. What the heck is Giant Slaying? Return them to the hand and a card on the, then target 2 cards on the field, return the back. Oh my Jesus. Argo Star with the help of Maxi, clapping up Momento, but what's that going to mean for the very next game? So our forms of disruption with Argo Star is, of course, the never-ending poppage with the Anguish pattern. If you have a continuous trap already on the field as a monster, just return it back and then summon it again to get poppin'. You have the field spell, which got popped earlier, and then you have the continuous trap, which could spin a card back, which we didn't actually even have. They have no hand traps. Well, they do have Purge. Purge is actually a really good hand trap, but when do we actually use it? We have the ability with the Combined Creation to reborn the Anguish to search your deck for a mace to then take control of a monster that the opponent controls. We have triple monster negate with the Apollo USA. We have Creation King to pop multiple cards in the field, back or a monster. We then have the Momento Fusion to go into, let's say, a Guardian Chimera, pop multiple cards. We have Ash negate interaction with the deck. And if we have a way to summon the Horned Dragon, which we could with the Momento field spell, then pop it with the Bone Party, we could then pop 2 cards on the field. This is about 8 forms of disruption. That's crazy. 8 mate, Bone Party it up, and we're going to use Goblin to make our monsters untargetable. It's not a form of disruption here. As the Bone Party pops the Creation King, summoning a Gaddock here. Unicorn is triggering to look at the extra deck, as the Gaddock is going to add the Anguish back to the hand. Did we not have a Sleepy to add back? I don't think so. I guess the Acheron's going to add back a Sleepy if there was one. There isn't. We don't have Sleepy in grave. We have to search it. But usually the Anguish wants to search for a Mace. But instead we're adding the Anguish in hand. Okay. The Guardian Chimera play is now gone. We're going to reborn the Creation King. Creation King in the battle phase is going to take out the Unicorn. Gaddock, when sent to the graveyard by a Memento monster, will reborn. We now have Cashier of Birth to reborn the Unicorn back onto the field here. As we now have Adra. Adra is going to be activating, so you cannot respond to continuous trap effects. We're just going to poly say negate, because why not mate? We have so many forms of disruption here. We're not going to even use the main effect of Adra to set up 2 traps in the deck, because the Apollo will just negate. And Creation King can pop more than just that, but instead we're just going to pop the Horned Dragon, which will then pop a card we control plus 2 other cards on the field. Unicorn's going to trigger in response to the field spell, also attempting to reborn a monster from engrave. We're going to look at the extra deck and say goodbye to the Moon of the Closed Heaven. Summoning the Anguish from the hand or grave. Anguish on summon's going to search our deck. The Acheron's going to trigger when destroyed to add back a Memento card from engrave or banish to our hand. Come to us. And we now have Sleepy, which could special summon itself onto the field, and on summon, activate Diffusion Summon using your hand or field. Simultaneous Equation Cannons. Oh my Jesus. We're going to banish 1 fusion and 2 Xyz monsters with the same rank from your extra deck, whose combined level and ranks equal the total number of cards in both players' hands and on the field. And then you're going to return 2 of your banished cards in Xyz and fusion, whose combined level and rank equal the level or rank of 1 face-up monster on the field that your opponent controls, to then banish all cards they control. So to mess up the equation, because they have to calculate the current field in hand, you could change the current field in hand by, let's say, using Memento Fusion. Fuse with a bunch of bodies. Now there's less cards on the field. Chain Bone Party. That actually would not work, because you're going to pop a card to... Yeah, that's not going to happen. This will change it up. Yup. Let's go. So the equation is now -1 of whatever you calculated. So what we have to do is we're going to use the Baguska and the Kick Kalos, which is a 5 and a 4 to a level 9. Oh my Jesus. Maybe we had to fuse with the Creation King. If you have a high level on the field with too many cards in the field or in either player's hand, your now entire field gets banished. Say goodbye to everything. Oh no. Now what's Hipster left with? A card that's going to do nothing, as it says... discard a card to search your deck. We, of course, have no card to even discard. Let's main phase 2. Just flip it up early, I guess. Sure. Okay, why not? Now we have a card to discard, as we're going to be summoning it, but the Ash negates the summon and the search. It's the same effect. So despite us banishing the entire field of disruptions, they lost their combined creation, which is a 1-of. They're not going to have another one for the rest of the duel. But unfortunately, you defeated the Memento part of the deck. You now have to deal with the Fiendsmith part. And the Fiendsmith part is definitely going to be clapping you up. You have Darkblade, discarding to pop the trap. Now, what happens if you attempt to pop a back row trap, they then summon themselves as a monster? They change spots, so it would dodge the disruption. 6,600 damage. Oh my Jesus. Lethal damage after eating an entire simultaneous equation cannon. Oh boy. Dimension Shifter, which should be the end of Memento, right? They are not going to be able to get cards in the graveyard. All the cards are getting banished. Goblin sends cards to the deck to the grave. The Memento Horse sends cards to the deck to the grave. Imperm negating the Adra, unfortunately, stops it from setting up 2 traps into the back row. We're going to Pot of D, banishing 10 cards off the top of our deck into an Ash Blossom negate. Look at that deck, mate. We got Macro Cosmos up in here. You toxic fool. That's okay. Now we have, I guess do we still want to do that? Does that give our trap the other effect? Well, I don't know, but we do have this where it special summons itself, and then you want to put itself in the back row, then the field spell activates to negate a card in the field. Is that going to be good? The horse, remember, we're under D-Shifter. So we're just going to poke directly for 1350, not even activate, because why do we want to banish our cards? We don't want that to happen. Now, let's see what is good. We're going to add a Banish Argo Star back to our hand, come forth and summon. And now they have no way to stop the ability of setting up 2 traps in the deck. Let's do it in main phase 2. Banish away, double trap it up. Why only 1? Did you banish too many of your traps? Holy crap, the Pot of D screwed us. We lost 2 of our lightning, and I guess we only played 2 copies? Or no, the 3rd copy's there. Do you only play 1 copy of the Slayer EDO? Because we didn't set that up from the deck. I think Pot of D killed us. That's what it's looking like. Pot of D really messed us up. Darkblade's a really good counter to the field spell. That is devastating. We're going to use the Apophis to actually negate the Darkblade from popping our field spell. Protect it. Nicely done. And now, we're going to want to... There we go. Well, it's already negated, so you don't want to be trying to negate it now. You want to wait for the horse, then negate the horse. The horse needs an open game state to activate. This is the opportunity. Push ourselves to the back road, negate the horse. Hipster knows what he's doing. Negate the horse. Now, we can't negate the moon. We can't negate the Requiem. What do we do? Summon from the deck. A Crimson Tear is here. Okay. There is a case, and I'll tell you what you could possibly do here. There was a question saying, should you negate Lacrima Crimson Tear? You should not negate the normal summon, but the summon from the deck with Requiem is something you can possibly consider only if they don't already have access to an engraver. So how would we have been able to negate the Lacrima Crimson Tear? Well, unfortunately, to even summon the lightning from the back row, you have to discard a card, but let's pretend that we could have. What you would want to do is, on the summon of Moon, summon your continuous trap. Are you with me? And then they summon a Requiem. Requiem activates, and then you got to change the Requiem, put the trap into the back row. What's going to happen is Lacrima will summon, and being the turn player, it will be Chainlink 1. The field spell will be Chainlink 2 to negate the Lacrima from sending an engraver from the deck to the grave. Unfortunately, we did not have that play, but that possibly would have been the way. Or wait for sequence and negate the sequence. But if you wanted to be tricky, that was the way to negate Lacrima. Engraver, send the Apophis into the sequence. Sequence fuse of the graveyard. We don't have a way to trigger the field spell again. The field spell is not a hard once per turn. Yep, oh boy. This is early rounds. This is not top 16. Momento is clapping it up, but it's okay. Hipster has barely survived as the... now we just have to find a way to trigger Lacrima. Once Lacrima goes to the graveyard, burn for 1,200. It just like that. Lacrima's not actually 2,400 attack. It's essentially 3,600 because of that extra burn damage. Banned in the TCG because of time rules, I believe. Let's go.